great to see you, and welcome to the swamp. And I got to say, I don't know about you, but I'm not tired of winning yet. Look, what is happening right now is phenomenal. We have never seen a period like this in American history. I take great joy in saying to Senate Democrats, I just kind of quietly say, 3.5 years to go. They start twitching. But the energy, the vigor, the action that is coming from this White House and this president is unprecedented. I wake up every morning, I grab my phone, I'm like, what the heck did we do today? Like, it is unbelievable. And I will say, none of this happens without you. None of this happens without your hard work. I want to say, Eagle Forum, you guys are warriors, you are principled, you are ferocious. I know the work you do on the ground. I know the work you do touching people's hearts and minds. And it makes an enormous difference. More than anything, I want to say to y'all, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because we're not winning these fights without your hard work to move people and to turn them out and to win elections. Look, part of the reason we're winning is because actually truth matters. Truth matters. There is a difference between right and wrong. There is a difference between good and evil. And the Democrats have lost their ever-loving minds. Like, everything they say is nonsense. And by the way, they know it is. At some level, they know what they're saying is nonsense. It didn't used to be difficult to tell the difference between a boy and a girl. Like, for all of recorded history, people knew. And all right, I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to prove to you that Joe Biden knows the difference between a man and a woman. I'm going to prove it to you. In my entire time, 13 years in the Senate, Mike, 13 years, never once has Joe Biden sniffed Chuck Schumer's hair. He knows. And you know what? I am even more certain Bill Clinton knows what a woman is. Absolutely certain he knows. At the end of the day, common sense is a really good place to be. I also want to briefly talk about kids. Because many of the folks in this room are motivated and engaged in politics because you love your kids, because you love your grandkids, and you want them to inherit a country built on the same eternal principles that we were blessed to inherit. And I will tell you, we are winning some victories for kids that are a big deal. I'm going to mention 3. Number 1, a bill called the Take It Down Act. Take It Down Act is a law that protects kids and protects everybody online from non-consensual intimate images. And this occurs in 2 different ways. Number 1, let's say you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, they have a romantic relationship, they take intimate pictures of each other, and then they break up. And one or the other is unhappy and takes those pictures, takes those videos, and puts them out on the internet, puts them on social media, sends them to all their friends. That is happening over and over and over again, so-called revenge porn. And nobody has a right to do that. That is a grotesque violation of privacy. Nobody has a right to do that to somebody else. There is a second iteration that is getting even more and more commonplace, which is AI creating deep fakes that appear to be intimate images and they're fake, but you cannot tell the difference. And I'll tell you where this bill came from. It actually originated in Texas from a 14-year-old girl named Elliston Berry. Elliston lives in Aledo, Texas. North Texas, outside Dallas-Fort Worth. And when she was a freshman in high school, she woke up one Monday morning and her phone started blowing up. And it turned out a boy in her class had taken perfectly innocent pictures from social media, had gone online and used AI to create deep fake news, and then sent them to all of her classmates. So every one of her 9th grade classmates believed they were looking at naked pictures of Elliston. Now, look, I'm the father of 2 teenage girls. My girls are 14 and 17. It is hard to be a teenager today. And it's even worse when you deal with issues of technology. It turned out there was no remedy for what happened to Elliston. What happened was not illegal. Normally, if you send naked pictures of a 14-year-old, it's child pornography. But it didn't meet the standard because it was a deep fake. It was not a real person, so you couldn't prosecute it as child pornography. But Elliston is a Texan. She's a constituent. And so she called her senator's office. She called my office and said, hey, this happened to me. Can you help me? And my staff, to their credit, they elevated it to me. I looked at it and said, this is terrible. And in response, we drafted the Take It Down Act. Now, the Take It Down Act does 2 things. Number 1, it makes it a crime. It makes it a felony to post non-consensual intimate images, either real or deep fakes. Either one, it is a crime. But there's a second component of it. So when we rolled this out, we did a press conference here in D.C. I rolled it out with Amy Klobuchar, Democrat from Minnesota. And Elliston and her mom, Anna, came up to D.C. for the press conference. And we're sitting in my office, and I said, whatever happened to the pictures? And they both became incredibly frustrated. They said, you know what? They're still up. Anna said she had called and emailed Snapchat over and over and over again and got just a bureaucratic brick wall. I turned to my staff, I said, I want you to get the CEO of Snapchat on the phone today. I want those pictures down today. Within 2 hours, they pulled it back. Now, it should not take a sitting U.S. Senator making a phone call to get pictures like that down. Yes. What we did in the Take It Down Act is we wrote into law that every victim now has a federal statutory right to notify a tech platform, and they have to take it down immediately or face federal fines. And the Take It Down Act, it passed the Senate with overwhelming bipartisan support. It passed the House with overwhelming bipartisan support. The Speaker was critical getting it across the board in the House. And then President Trump signed it into law in the Rose Garden, and it's actually very cool. The First Lady, Melania Trump, leaned in hard. And at the signing ceremony, the President signed it, and then he hands the bill to Melania, and Melania signed it. I think it's the only bill in history to be signed by the First Lady. My team asked, well, does that imperil its legality? I said, nope, not at all. As long as the President signs it, anybody else can sign it, and it's still a law. So that was a victory that we got that now protects 95% of the victims of non-consensual intimate images are teenage girls or women. And this is exploding across the country, and so it's a step we took that'll make a real difference. 2 more that I'm briefly going to mention that are in the One Big Beautiful Bill. School choice. In this bill, we passed the single most far-reaching federal school choice provision that's ever passed into law. It's my legislation. And we actually, at the beginning of doing the One Big Beautiful Bill, we went to a retreat of all the Senate Republicans. I stood up, I said, look, there's a ton of things that matter in this bill. We need to secure the border. We need to extend the tax cuts. We need to pass no tax on tips. We need to do a lot of things that make sense. And I said, I care about all of it. But I said, we ought to at least pause for a moment and think about legacy. What will people remember in 10, 20, 30 years? What will actually make a difference in this bill? And I said, I got 2 candidates for that. School choice and Invest America accounts. School choice, what the legislation is now is every taxpayer in America can now give up to $1,700 a year to a scholarship granting organization in the States. You get a dollar-for-dollar tax credit for that contribution. Not a deduction, a tax credit. So you give $1,700 to a scholarship granting organization in your state, and you owe $1,700 less to Uncle Sam.
Wow.
So it's basically free money. Every taxpayer in America who supports school choice should be doing this. This will unleash tens of billions of dollars of scholarship money in the states. I think school choice is the civil rights issue of the 21st century. This is going to launch next year. And we are going to see millions of kids in inner city schools and failing schools, facing violence, facing drugs, facing schools that are not teaching, suddenly being able to get a scholarship in the states. The states administer it. The feds have no role in curriculum, no role in anything else other than the tax credit that will unleash the money for these scholarships. 30 years from now, we are going to have millions of kids who got an excellent education because of this school choice provision. And I'll tell you, by the way, it is a miracle it is in there. 3 times the Senate parliamentarian crossed it out. I went in and personally litigated it with the parliamentarian. That's weird. Normally, people send their staff in. I went in and I'll tell you, look, I told John Thune, for me, school choice has been a passion for 30 years. I told John Thune at the end of the process, I said, look, I've been a pretty easy vote on this bill. But if our leadership abandons this school choice provision, I'll tell you right now, I will burn the damn thing down. The entire bill's coming down if this comes out. And I will say there is a virtue to having built a reputation for being willing to blow everything up. Because nobody thinks I'm bluffing. And I wasn't bluffing. But we got it in there, and this is going to make a difference for millions of kids for generations to come. Finally. Finally, the Invest America account. Starting next year, on July 4th, the 250th anniversary of America, every child in America will have a personal investment account open for them.
Oh, wow.
Every newborn will have it seeded with $1,000. Parents, family, employers can contribute up to $5,000 a year in a tax-advantaged account. And that account will be invested in the S&P 500, invested broadly in the stock market. Now, there are 2 massive advantages of these. Number 1, every child in America is going to experience the miracle of compound growth. What does that mean? A little girl born next year, she has the account open for, has $1,000 seeded in it. Her parents or family or an employer puts $5,000 a year each year into the account. If you assume the standard historical rate of growth for the S&P 500 of the last 200 years, it's 7% a year. That means that little girl, by the time she turns 18, will have $170,000 in her account. And if she keeps contributing $5,000 a year, by the time she turns 35, she will have $700,000 in that account. And that's not just for the kids of rich people. That's for the kids of single moms waiting tables, who now will be able to accumulate life-changing capital. But the second reason, and the reason why I'm so enthusiastic about these Trump accounts, we are going to be creating a new generation of capitalists.
Yes.
We've all seen the data about young people who are losing faith in capitalism and think socialism is a good idea. Well, 10 years from now, we'll have a little boy, and he'll pull out his phone and look at it. And he'll see his account. And say, wait, I own that. And suddenly, instead of a corporation being some big, mean, scary company, he'll say, I own $100 of Apple. I own $50 of Boeing. I own $75 of McDonald's. And every kid in America will be an owner of the biggest companies in America and the biggest employers in America. And that's how, over the long term, we get a whole new generation of capitalists committed to our free market system.
Yeah.
Both of those are in the one big beautiful bill. And you can think about these Trump accounts. You know, when Congress first passed Section 401k, I don't know that Congress realized how much it would change how we save for retirement. There are now trillions of dollars invested in 401ks. These are 401ks for kids. And in a decade, there will be trillions of dollars invested in the markets for our kids in these accounts. That is winning. Those are victories for kids. So I'm going to close the way I started by saying none of these victories happen without you. You guys are amazing. I am grateful. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for your tireless and ferocious advocacy. God bless you.